3, back at home base. I guess everything from this point forward should be referred to as PM post Messi. Are we? Is it?
Let
Are
him
we in
start
1
a
p.m. right
game.
now? Yeah, actually. I mean, and
Or
also
like,
sign the
let
contract.
him hold up a jersey.
Yeah, yeah.
And actually physically announce which team he's actually playing for. Because I don't know. Like, obviously, it's going to be Inter, but you never know.
Well, and
Like, we could throw all the maybe NYCFC just throws all the gam, tam, and jam, and wham, and bam, and everything that we have at Messi.
I doubt it, but unfortunately, you informed me of the fact that apparently we have money in the pot paying for this man to come to the league, which
Allegedly,
seems
that's
crazy.
what the streets are saying.
Well, it was rumored a long time ago.
Right.
I think we even talked about it on here, how they were like, every franchise is going to pool money together to make this thing happen, which I guess it makes sense because, I don't know, is this like the biggest news in MLS history?
Probably
the biggest
since Beckham.
moment? Yeah, and it's
like
funny
Beckham coming would be
tied in
the
too.
only thing really get close. I mean, like Thierry Henry came, that was pretty big. I think Beckham though was at least known. Like, I don't feel like Thierry Henry was really known by the American fans as much as David Beckham was.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, but I'm also speaking on things that were like pre me being into MLS, so I really have no idea. Somebody who was a fan back then might tell me otherwise, but.
And it feels to me like, at least as long as we've like really cared about it, by far the biggest.
Oh, easily
the biggest moment. Like,
right.
And I don't know. It kind of feels like the league is treating it that way too. Like we said, NYCFC and every other franchise apparently are going to be a part of making this deal happen. I don't know if that's at some point they said helping pay salary, which seems insane to have a man come and play against you.
Yeah,
that
paying
you're
for
literally
a free kick
paying
that he's
for.
gonna bang on you.
Yeah, that just doesn't seem right. But then the other stuff, like, I mean, they're giving this dude part
Everything.
of Adidas merchandising, apparently, a part of percentage of Apple subscriptions, all that stuff. And then I think you said
he gets dibs. He gets first dibs basically on a franchise if he wants.
Yeah, and I don't know. I thought I read too that he was getting a portion of Inter Miami too, like a stake.
Yeah, I would assume
to
so.
some degree.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you could have ownership in 2 different clubs, but I mean, if anybody in the soccer sphere was to do it, it's gonna be Messi. But it's insane. I mean, this probably trumps the 1.5 billion that Saudi Arabia was trying to give him or whatever to go over there. I mean, when you add all those things up over the course of time, it's just an insane deal.
It's an insane
one we've never
deal.
seen ever in any league.
I mean, but when you carry that name, you demand things that are unprecedented. I just don't know. Obviously he's going to come in and he's going to be a star and he's going to be, everything that people think he's going to be and more. I think he's leaving Europe too soon, kind of like David Beckham did.
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe David Beckham played for Galaxy and then went back to PSG afterwards.
Yeah.
Which I don't see happening with Messi. I think once he's done here, he's done. But I think it's too soon. I think it should be a year or 2 away. But granted, if he was coming to NYCFC, I'd be telling him it's a perfect time, perfect point of your career. But yeah, he's going to light it up. Miami is
living all of our dreams right now. I mean, then obviously, once you have Messi coming, you can pretty much claim any player you want, any coach you want. Rumors of Tata Martino, who I think has been at least a front runner from a fan's perspective of if there was going to be a change at manager for us, Tata is probably the best guy on the market, period, that we could realistically get our hands on. Obviously, Mourinho could be available potentially, but like not a realistic scenario. But Tata felt realistic, like somebody that we could grab over. But then, now he is Messi. Phil Neville got fired. Too perfect. They're saying Di Maria. They're saying Sergio Ramos. I don't know.
It just feels like
they're gonna have to break roster rules again for the second time because they've already.
It just feels like had this happened a year from now or 2 years from now, we could have gotten Messi on our team with the promise that Pep was going to be his coach. If we were a few years away and Pep's, looking to take steps towards retirement or whatever, we could have possibly lured Messi with the promise of Pep. Whereas, with it happening right now, obviously Pep's going for a treble. Those types of things are not going to happen right now.
I think Pep is, I don't know. I used to live and breathe the copium hopium that is, Pep might have a clause in his contract that's going to have him come and play out a year here, but that dude is, I feel like if anything, he wants to go back to Barca and because that's his club, that's obviously his club and his boyhood club and all that stuff, so.
I don't know, because Xavi's got that for a long time.
Yeah.
I feel like he's got that until he doesn't want it anymore, and I just feel like Pep's kind of at the point where he's achieved everything, and
except MLS glory,
except for Champions League, because well, no, with
not
City,
yet, not yet.
City, he's had it otherwise, but
not yet.
no, it's not happening.
No,
bro,
but
City's cursed, bro.
Yeah. Okay.
City's cursed.
Jinx it that way. That's what I want you to say.
No, but that's what I.
So jinx it that way that we won't win it. Yeah.
But think of what you just said right now. On FIFA, there's not betting, but like you pick one player or the other from a team in an important matchup, and the winner of the two gets an upgrade. So it's kind of like betting, but it's not really betting, because realistically you could do both and whatever.
Honestly,
but I did the City one to jinx City.
I was gonna say
on purpose.
All we have to do, like if we want Inter to win, we just have to put a $5 on City money line.
Yeah.
And there's like the second that the bet is submitted, it's known that.
What I was gonna say about betting though is I wonder what the odds are on the futures for Inter to win next year.
They have to look better than they do right now at the bottom of the table.
Like,
or this year. Because I don't know.
It's going to be so funny. Now, this is exactly what's going to happen. I got my third eye. It's telling me that Inter makes it to the Eastern Conference Final, and they lose to a Bobby Wood-led Revs. I fully see that next season. Okay. Like, Bobby Wood knocks Messi out of the finals.
Bobby Wood of all people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. And I don't know what that looks like either, because I saw people say that he won't start until the 2024 season. He's going to take 8 months off, but then like every single Miami game and Miami away game has like 7-8x in value for tickets. Yeah. Like I think Red Bull Arena, they said, jumped from like $30 to like $400, which is going to be his first game available like next month. So I guess it seems more like he's going to end up playing this season. It kind of sucks for us because we already burned our Miami away.
Yeah.
And our Miami home was like week 3.
Yeah.
So
we thought seeing Phil Neville was cool.
Yeah. And that's a whole different.
I've never seen Messi play. I've been lucky enough to see Manchester United play live, and I thought that was like peak.
Mm-hmm.
But to see Messi play live is going to be something special, and the fact that it's more than likely that we bump shoulders with him in the stadium, whether between the press conference or the locker room or whatever, is ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, I
have one rule. I'll never ask for a picture with anybody inside of like the locker room or outside in the tunnels or anything like that as media, but Messi, I'm going to break that rule.
That'd have to be one.
100%. I'm breaking that rule for.
Yeah.
Because even staff is going to do that too, so I'm not above that.
Yeah, no, that'll be crazy. I kind of felt the same way. We didn't get lucky enough to see Beckham when we were at the Miami game,
right?
But that
I would have.
That would have been one where
100%.
You also have to break the rule.
Or if I saw Rooney, like,
yeah,
I'm taking a picture of him.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting thing. I don't know. I mean, it feels dumb to say it, but like, is Messi enough to push Miami like single-handedly like to a championship? Like, I honestly don't know.
I don't know.
Like, the MLS is such a weird league. Like, they're literally the wooden spoon contenders at the moment, and then to get like literally the best player to ever play soccer.
I just think if they start diving practice now and they get enough free kicks, they will win a lot of games.
Yeah. I mean, I just hope it ends up that we seed well enough that it could happen. We could get Messi at Yankee Stadium if the seeding for the playoffs works perfectly.
True.
And they have to come play a home game against us.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe it'll be City. Maybe it'll be Yankee Stadium. I have a feeling that they're going to bump it to Red Bull to sell more tickets. Or maybe we see the third tier at Yankee Stadium Mercedes Field fully open for the first time. And we drop like a 60 bomb attendance for the first time ever.
Yeah. I could see that.
But
in
that would be
New
awesome.
York.
But I'm not gonna love seeing us lose that game to
No.
like 2 Messi free kicks
Well,
or something. I don't
I
know.
would like to see James Sands put Messi in his pocket.
Well, we know Collins can, but unfortunately,
We're not getting
he's
him
not
back.
to do that.
And there's a lot of copium going around thinking that we'll get Tati back now that Messi's in the league.
Imagine Tati goes to like Miami to go play with Messi and Tata.
No, we're unfollowing him.
Yeah, we'd have to.
And no, I'm gonna
Blocking.
hit his DM first and be like, unfollow us, and then we're gonna unfollow you.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is our first time talking, obviously, since
Yeah, we are an NYCFC podcast.
we are an NYCFC podcast. Now, I'm a Messi fan. I'm not even really that big of a Messi fan.
Well,
I would lean Ronaldo just based off of his past at United.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say.
Not that I think he's a better.
I was
player.
gonna say based off your past with Man United.
Yeah,
which is the same thing, but
not off like skill wise. It's Messi. It's clearly Messi. It's always been Messi, but
yeah,
vibes is Ronaldo for me.
I think I would say my GOAT is probably Messi. I saw people saying, I mean, I'll just name John Sanchez from NYCFC wherever said when Zlatan retired that Zlatan is his GOAT. Which
interesting
take.
Interesting take.
But
interesting take.
For me, it has to be Messi. So obviously, I think very exciting to see him.
Clearly, it's Haaland, bro.
Haaland.
Clearly.
He's not even like my favorite Man City player.
Gundo's gonna be gone.
Gundo's not my favorite.
But he's up there.
Gundo's going to Al Hilal
Saudi?
or wherever with Benzema, apparently.
Nah, United should take him just for vibes and sit his ass on the bench.
I don't think you guys can afford to sit his ass on the bench.
Not if Saudi's coming in, man.
But yeah, NYCFC pod. I think what you were starting to say.
Before
we derailed again.
Yeah, we haven't recorded obviously since the Wednesday game, which was against Cincy. And obviously that one we were kind of tied up in figuring out how to record and attending the press conference and stuff like that. So we hadn't seen the video that came out
and we recorded at the stadium right after. I mean, we were probably recording around the same time that the Sands video was like actively happening.
Right.
So we haven't had the chance to share any comments, and we haven't shared any on Twitter either. I think it's more of a sensitive subject that I would prefer to like give our thoughts.
Yeah,
with our voices,
to kind of like think it out and talk it out.
Because there were a lot of
opinions, heavy opinions,
emotions flying around crazy on Twitter.
Right, and for me,
everywhere,
it gets weird when it goes to that level for me because it's like being a fan and being a community comes first before anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wish that in that conversation we had, handled it more as a community and more as a whole and kind of talked it out instead of just kind of blasting out the hardest opinion that you could possibly have. Because that's just not how things get resolved in a good way for me personally.
And I just feel like it looks bad to everybody on the outside.
It's like when our players were fighting on the field. That's what the community looked like from the outside.
I think it was worse, honestly.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's a lot worse when it's fans and players than players and players because there's a different understanding. Because like a player and a player on the same level, there's like a different dynamic when it's a fan and a player. And yeah, I mean that stuff spreads like wildfire. Yeah, everybody starts picking it. I had people at my work that have no care for soccer at all. That they like loosely know that we have like a NYFC. Like they don't even know that there's 2 C's in NYCFC. Yeah. And they're like, I saw like one of the players like arguing with somebody on Twitter. I was like, how did that make it to Twitter? Like I have no clue. And they're like, I think it was on like Barstool. I was like, holy shit! Like, and that's now like NYCFC. Like and that's the state that they know them as.
That's kind of where my opinion on it comes from. I saw somebody argue that, I forgot the name of the guy, the specific guy that was arguing with Sands. Obviously I have respect for you because you go to however many games you do and you support for as long as you have, and you're in the supporter section. So you're somebody who clearly cares beyond the average fan. But somebody was quoting like, oh, you have no idea how much, I think it was, I think maybe NY Forever.
They were fighting deep in the trenches on Twitter all day.
And saying
That's
like
respect.
you have no idea how much this guy's done for the fans and for the club, or how much he's sacrificed and stuff like that, which is like I respect,
Mhm.
but like, why does it have to be that? You know what I
About
mean?
Sands or about the fan?
No, yeah, about the fan, like how
Okay.
much you've done. Like, to be honest, you're doing that out of your love for the team. That should never be something that you have to stand on and be like, oh, I've done so much, so like I can go and argue with a player and kind of, make this big scene where it's like, okay, well, I would never do that. I would never think of doing that
Hmm.
because I'm more reserved. But like, we're driving 4 hours for games,
Yeah.
and then we're never bringing that up as a
Hmm.
reason why we did something.
Right. That
You
was a
know,
everything is a decision. Like to attend games, to buy tickets and
right?
everything, and like it's hard because I do see both sides. Like if I don't believe that there. Like I couldn't think of a single player on our team that I think does not want to be there, and that I think
Exactly.
is not like actively busting their ass like at all times to try to turn things around. Like I don't think I can think of a single like we've never had
But
somebody like
visually,
that really.
like, because I don't know if it's a situation where this player actually doesn't care, or that's just their body language is different than others.
Hmm.
But like Tales sometimes looks like he's jogging.
He does look lazy at
Yeah,
times, and
and like Santi sometimes looks like he's jogging. Like there's certain players that genuinely do visually look like they're not trying. I don't know, obviously, them as a person. I haven't followed them for their whole life, so
mhm.
I can't really speak on that. But like, everyone looks like they're trying, and obviously he's like, what Sands is saying is, you don't think we want to win as much as you.
Yeah.
Now, when Sands says that he cares more or that they care more when they lose, to me that's false.
Mm.
Like, I doubt any of them are losing sleep over a loss.
Well, I think we could have. I think it's realistic for fans to have the same level of care as a player,
Or if not more.
if not more, because it's really hard to say.
But the reasons are
It's really
different.
hard.
The reasons are different.
The
The
reasons are
reasons we
completely
care,
different. Yeah.
and the reason that made that fan have to feel like he had to address it himself is because we care from a point that we're living with this club no matter what forever. Whereas Sands and the players, they care because they want to win because they're competitors, and two, they want to win and play well because it's lucrative for them.
Hmm. Well, I think I just figured it out. Here's where the difference is. I think fans can care as much as players, and like you said, for different reason. I think Jimmy just kind of got screwed because he's probably the worst guy to put in that position, and that needs like a scolding like that. But also he's the captain, so he probably has to be the guy that goes over there and takes
Right.
that for everybody else. But for me, the extra baggage that Sands has in terms of being a homegrown, being from New York. Now, obviously, when
Right.
he was a boy, there was no
Right.
NYCFC to claim as a boyhood club. But coming up in our academy, you do build that rapport and everything, and it's just like it sucks that it had to be him because I think there are other players that probably don't care as much as Sands. Not that anybody doesn't care, like flat out, but there are probably players that don't care or aren't as invested as Sands because he's just at a level so far, maxed out in terms of caring and all of that stuff. Um, that it sucks that it had to be him. But
Yeah,
he's the
no.
captain, so I
Especially
guess
after the game
that's
that
what
he
he
put
signed up
on.
for. Yeah,
He had a
the
good game.
season that he's put together.
Right.
I mean, without Sands, like we're in bad shape, but like
Yeah.
it would be way worse. There's been 2 or 3 games where we haven't been able to have him, and it's been like night and day. Like, and there's a lot of Hack haters out there, and he looked better at center back, but like for as much as you guys hate Hack, if we didn't have Sands, like that would be your guy starting
Right.
every game. So like the
Exactly.
hate and the however bad you think Hack is, obviously we don't agree. But like if it wasn't for Sands,
Right.
this guy that you don't like would be his replacement.
Right.
So he's an incredibly important part of the team, incredibly important part of NYCFC and like our history probably, especially now with captaincy being involved, homegrown, or I don't think he's officially homegrown, but
Right.
obviously an academy
From
product.
New York and an academy product.
Yeah.
But for me, it just seemed weird timing. Because like you said, I could see both sides of it. My initial reaction was not a positive one. I didn't like it. I didn't like the optics of it. Just because I think as fans, we as a whole, I feel have been supporting less. And I think I saw things on Twitter, and I swear I heard this in the stadium that, like even in that video, maybe like why do you think we haven't been playing drums for
That's
you?
what, yeah, in the video, the guy
Right?
said that. He said
That
they didn't even want to play the drums for you or whatever.
that to me is so backwards. Like in times where the team needs people, needs fans, like you're taking one key thing away. To me is insanely backwards thinking.
Yeah.
That's like telling somebody, like somebody's tired at work, and you're like, well, I'm going to take your water away.
Yeah.
It's like, no, actually, that would pick me up. That might actually make the difference right now. So for those reasons, I didn't initially like it. And I feel like whatever we decide, whatever comes of this, whatever people do for the rest of time, whatever decision is made now, that's what the club's going to be, and that's what our fan base is going to be. So I just hope we make the right decision and we don't look back on it 10 years from now and we think that was a moment that defined the fan base and the fans as a whole.
Yeah. I think from the outside looking in, it obviously has more of an effect than it does on the inside. I feel like we probably, like, it's very easy to be like, hey, tensions have been, like, very high. Like, that was, I think, the 8th game, no wins, 2 ties, 6 losses across all competitions. So it's understandable. I felt the same way as you, first reaction. I felt a little bit like the fans were being, I can't even think of the word, but not pretentious, but like expecting more just seems a little crazy, like thinking that people aren't trying it. But then, yeah, once I kind of took the emotions out of it, I was like, to be fair, like somebody does have to say something to somebody. I was happy that in the press conference, somebody asked Cushing about the Cushing Out banners. And then I think John, the Pigeons on NYCFC, had a conversation, or not a conversation, but asked him a question about, like, the mental state, I guess, of the team in Cushing. And it was good to, like, humanize the players and humanize Cushing, because I think a lot of times, you might hear, like, F Cushing, F his family, like, fire him, send him back to England, like, kick him out of CFG. Like, when we're saying these things, like, you're literally calling for, like, the destruction of a person's, like, livelihood, which is really crazy to do. And, like, obviously there's going to be moments where calling for sacking is warranted, but, like, to do it on a level where you're, like, fully bugging out is crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
Things
and
you
that's
never
what I
say
felt
to a coach's face. Too.
Yeah, that's kind of what I felt like the fan thing was. Like, it's taking it, like, past a certain level,
right?
At first, but then that's what happens when you go 8 winless and Sands comes over, and, like, to be honest, like, Sands was pretty combative back to them too. Like, at first he was just sitting there and he was like taking it.
Part of it annoyed me as well, but continue.
Yeah, and he was just taking it. And I did like the fire of, like, Sands going back at him too in the moment, but then afterwards I was like, I don't like our captain.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, reaming out a fan either. That's
where
not
it was
cool.
Like, on both, I was like, once he started giving it back and, like, no, listen, and like, that's fucking disrespectful, things that. Like, that's where I was like, okay, but you need to chill too, bro, because, like, as a captain, you should be saying this to your team too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. So I am a little on both sides of this.
Yeah.
My thing is that I would never want, like, NYCFC ultras. I think that idea is super cringe, to have, like, ultras in your club. It's so cringe to me. Like, be as good of a supporter as you want to be, but the point where you're, like, injuring other people or taking it to that extreme, to me, is wrong. And that is one step closer towards that. It's not, obviously, like, there was never going to be a physical altercation. Like, there's never going to be anything like that. But it's one step closer to people, like, throwing things onto the field, or, like, being okay to attack a fan or a player in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Things like that, to where the fans or the players aren't going to come out to the fans anymore.
Yeah.
That type of stuff. So that's where I don't want it to go that route.
Yeah. And the last thing that got me was, I feel like, and I could be totally wrong, I don't know if it was the same guy, but it felt like over the course of that video, and the security guard, I think, unfortunately, ended up cutting it after it seemed to be getting more amicable.
Right.
Like Sans reached up, dapped him up and everything, and the guy was like, dude, I've been watching you since the academy. Like, I like you. Like, the dude was like, I like you, Sans. Like, I'm a fan of you, not just the club. And it seemed like they were, like, coming to common ground. Security guard wraps it up, and Sans starts walking away. And then I don't know if it was the same guy, but there were obviously a ton of people yelling. But then they're like, it's not, like, they started bugging out on him again. Like, I thought you guys just came to, like, a little, you know.
Well, no, because I think what happened, and not to, like, if this was you, not to call anybody out personally, but I feel like when Sans was looking at you personally, it's very hard to sit there and criticize him. So the minute he turns his back, it's like, other people are like, it's not enough, you're not good enough, blah blah blah. Like,
well, you're also trying to get your last words,
which would be me, right? So like, I'm not the guy who's gonna to sit in front of Sans or Santi and tell him like, you're not good enough, you're not playing good enough, I need more. So respect on one hand, but like, it just, I don't know, it's not for me. For me, us being a true supporter is singing the songs when it's hard, banging the drums when it's hard, showing up to games on 8 games on winning, things like that. That's being a fan. If you want to scream about performances and scream about how it's not enough, start a podcast. We'll support it. We'll follow you.
We do that from time to time.
We'll show up and be a guest on your podcast. That's the space that it should happen in. Press conferences, that's the place it should happen in. Physically to a player's face, to me, I'm not really gonna get behind.
Yeah, it's tough. It's, tensions get high, and I think like you alluded to at the start of the conversation, like it's kind of a bad timing too, because if we look at the grand scheme of this 8-game unbeaten run, we obviously got the tie against Orlando away. That was a moment where we looked better, and then we had that special moment with Thiago afterwards, which we have to talk about Thiago. We have to talk about so much different stuff on here, but this was one of the games where I thought we looked a lot better.
In New England?
Yeah, against New England, and this was one of the games where we looked a lot better. We were unlucky, I think, on a number of occasions. Obviously, Richie pulls up, and I didn't know he had that in him to do that.
I did.
I thought for sure and this dude, had a bet for, I think, Richie first scorer. Yeah. And I don't know what. And see, this is the thing too. Us as fans, we've devolved into degenerate. The number one rule of all time is not to bet on your teams, and specifically NYCFC. We bet on them at Philly. We were at the game. We bet on them. I had a bet. Nonsense. New England. I just did money line NYCFC to win. I didn't even tell you. That's how degenerate.
I didn't even tell you. Until after.
That's what degeneracy is. You're not even happy with the decision you're
That's
making.
the thing, though. That's what the club not winning does to you. You're searching for any type of but I need a good feeling from this game.
NYCFC dopamine, yeah.
So the both teams to score was looking fine for a couple of games.
But so Richie pulls up, obviously off the post, unlucky. Gabby, I think right before that, has another incredible attempt. Unfortunately, Petrovic makes a pretty good save. He's one of those keepers that we've kind of granted every time we play him. We end up making him look like Jesus out there.
I'd take him at the club, though. To be honest, I'd take him.
Yeah.
He's good.
And then, I'm not sure what else there is to write home about. Turnbull, another solid game. I'm not going to say he balled out.
He's a baller, though.
But he appears to be, if we can nurture him the way that he needs to be. And unfortunately, Lennox exists, so I don't think he's going to get the time to breathe.
But with all the Tavon stuff going on, like I said, Turnbull right center back in a back three or the 5 with a Lennox on the right. Mm-hmm. Oh, that'd be dangerous.
Yeah, I like the way he reminds me, or I got similar feelings of when Richie first started his first game. And we saw him look around. In that one play, look around for options, see nobody. He's like, I'm just gonna take on 3 defenders, and beats all of them. I see Turnbull making the same decisions where when there isn't a player to play out to, he takes that space and he'll just take on guys, straight up run into the midfield. That's something we obviously don't see from Tavon. I think it's a different game than Alenic. I think Alenic has that in his arsenal, but he prefers like pace going down the wing, playing off a Gabby and then kind of whipping balls and not necessarily cutting in the way that that Turnbull has seemed to enjoy doing. But yeah, I mean, I'd say decent showing from him. I'm excited. I want to see more
stuff to the team that the team needs. People that just take the ball and take the space, because a lot of teams aren't really respecting us right now, and I don't blame them. But yeah, a lot of teams aren't respecting us, and they're giving us a lot of space, and a lot of players on their team are not taking that space.
Yeah.
So I like what he's given to the team, and like you were about to get into, Justin Hack looked amazing.
You read my mind. I don't even think I said Hack, but you just knew.
No, I just knew it.
You knew where I was going with it.
I knew exactly where that was going.
But yeah, Hack was a proper. He did a proper fill-in job. I mean, like, to the point where now knowing Thiago is, I guess, going to be out minimum 2 months, which is just.
I just remembered something. Continue.
Gonna kill us. I mean, that's literally gonna kill us. But if Hack is gonna do what Hack did in that game, then maybe it won't kill us.
Yeah, we'll be in safe hands
with Hack.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I think that formation works for us.
I think so. It's just gonna be making sure that we have the pieces to fill every position on the roster. We got lucky. Kufre, red card rescinded. I honestly don't know what the backline would have looked like if we didn't have him or Thiago or Tavon, or potentially Alenic.
Kevin O'Toole.
Yeah, Kevin O'Toole would have been in there. Alfaro would have been in there, which my ship has sailed a little bit on Alfaro, but that's beside the point.
What did he do? He got an
that
unlucky
was
pen call.
That was, I think it was a penalty.
I think he got
further
fouled.
review.
And Nick Cushing told you why the rules made it an offside when it.
That is
it
true.
should be an offside.
It should have been, yeah,
but it wasn't, and the rules are stupid.
Yeah, and I'm surprised Cushing hasn't got slapped with a big boy fine yet.
I know. I was looking for the news. It never happened.
3 games straight.
You know why? Because he was
telling the
truth.
He was right.
What was I gonna say about the Revs game?
I don't know what else there is to say.
Oh, I was gonna just talk about the fan reaction to it, which was, in my opinion, super negative because of all the negativity that was happening that week with the fan situation, with another loss, with the bad reffing, all that stuff. I feel like that led to people's reaction to that because, for me personally, if you're being genuine, I don't think you could have watched that game and not seen improvement from the team and effort and everything that the fan yelling at Sands wanted. But to still be calling for Cushing out in those moments, to me, it was crazy. Not that, like, a draw in New England at home, like... It's
the at home that kills it.
I guess.
Because of who we are, I guess.
But it was a good game where, like you said, we were a couple inches away from the Richie goal. A great save from Petrovic on Gabby's shot. We should have gotten a penalty, which hasn't really been talked about that much.
The handball.
For the handball.
Yeah, absolutely.
The red card towards the end of the game was atrocious. All of those things considered, and we showed effort, and we looked good, and we were dominating for large periods of the game. To me, that's enough to not get the Cushing out, like, completely out. You would need a big win or a couple of wins for that to happen. But at least for people not to be shouting it out right after the game or during the game or being like, I'm tired of this. This is, like, that to me was improvement.
You have to look at what the Revs are too and put that into perspective. So, like, right, if we had gotten a tie against, like, FC Dallas at home, it's a way different situation.
Miami.
Or any of these shitty teams. Like, the Revs, honestly, as much as I hate to say it because I hate Bruce Arena's guts and I think he's
such a bozo.
Yeah, I think he's such a crybaby. We have to be honest, like, the man does know how to manage, like, a little bit. Like, there's something there with Bruce Arena.
But the problem is he's the type of dude that, like, would order a hot dog and be like, why is there mayonnaise on it?
Yeah.
Why is there mustard?
Yeah.
Like, he just seems like an annoying person.
Yeah, no, I mean, he whines for a living.
Yeah.
But he has a little bit of tactics underneath him. He's won some Manager of the Year and everything. And I think through I know Cincy recently took over first place in the Eastern Conference, but I think aside from that, the Revs have been first like through 10 weeks, and then they've been second behind Cincy since. So they are a good team. I think historically we've been spoiled that at home NYCFC has just been like a wagon, literally. Like nobody comes into our house and beats us. But Revs are a good team. We're in really bad form. We were starting people like Hack, like Turnbull, and all types of stuff like that. Alfredo hasn't typically been a guy that's been starting for us, and he came in and he started a role, and actually, to be honest with you, looked really good as well. So it's not as terrible as a result as it seems, but we have the baggage of the last 7 games to pile on. So
exactly.
RSL on the weekend, I know they just got Chicho Arenga from LAFC. I know he was somebody that we and a lot of fans were hoping we could make ours. I don't know how he's coming back. I don't know why he's coming back to the MLS so soon. Seems like a very weird situation. I think he was there for like a half season.
Yeah.
And it was a full transfer.
Right.
And now he's full transferring out of there. And I'm not going to pretend to know like what he did wherever he was.
Yeah.
But it must not have been good.
My thing with that is I've been crying in my head, begging for NYCFC to sign like an MLS vet. Not even a vet, just like why can't we just... I feel like NYCFC, and what I think of it, is a team that could put it on the table and bring over a star from another MLS team, and we've never done it. Ever. Like, you don't think we can get a Gill? You don't think like those guys want to live in New York?
A Bobby Wood,
like, dude, he's
Josie out the door.
Gill is living he's not living in Boston.
No,
he's living in the woods of Massachusetts. You think he wants that?
Yeah.
Like where Foxborough is not Boston. Like anyone who thinks
it's not
that
even close.
It's not
actually.
Even remotely close.
It's not even close.
He's not living in Boston. He's literally living in the sticks.
Yeah, I mean he basically has like Gillette Stadium to go to and like his choice of like 8 different Dunkin' Donuts. And like, that is pretty much like the livelihood.
And there's so many places for him to get his car fixed. There's so many places.
Yeah.
Food.
So many hotels too. And I don't know. I get it's all for the Pats, obviously.
There's the shopping center too, right there. There's a bunch of food there.
Cabela's. Big old Cabela's.
So he's a hunter. But like, wouldn't you want to live somewhere cool? Like, you're telling me we can't get some of these dudes? Is just, to me, is crazy.
And we couldn't have just gotten a Band-Aid. Like,
or anything.
Like a guy like that,
that's where like the FO out stuff I can kind of get behind. To me, like that, I'll get behind that any day because
they're way harder to get out than a manager.
Yeah, definitely.
So
but like,
much harder.
Because you just people do this. They go
because the FO blames
the manager
Cushing,
out. Yeah, and while actively not backing it, dude, I've been through it. Manchester United, Glazers. I can't wait till Saudi comes and buys us. Like,
that'll be the day.
I've been through
my
it.
favorite day.
Oh, I'll flip like a pancake on a fresh pan of butter.
Just leave the group chat that day.
I'll act like I never was against it.
Well, Apple's adding better search functionality apparently to iMessage along with the $3,500 goggles. So, you could try to clear the search functionality on your phone, but I will have the receipts.
Speaking of Apple functionality, the greatest functionality was added for you in response to what I don't do, which is read back. So now there's a little arrow.
Oh, did you get the...
I did.
You got the thing.
And it brings you right to where...
The beta.
The last thing I read.
That's huge.
So now I can read back.
That is huge.
That's huge for me.
Because this guy...
I'm the worst group chat...
participator.
Nah, I wouldn't say that because that means like the stuff that I bring to the chat is bad. But in terms of reading all of what's happening, that's not really happening often.
Yeah. You do participate a fair bit, but
yeah.
Yeah, reading I guess it's never.
I never really learned.
Suit of yours.
Never really learned how to. So.
So that's that. RSL on the weekend.
I hope it's not a weekend.
On the weekend, hopefully Chicho Arenga is not allowed to play. Otherwise, it's gonna be a shitty game. But I feel, I do feel good about it. I don't think.
Do you think Tots is coming back?
No Sean Hill.
Okay, we'll leave it at that.
Tati will not play for us again until like after 2030, if I had to imagine. And yeah, RSL hopefully as slouchy as I believe them to be, although we've been contrast before. So I don't know, another away game.
2-0.
2-0. Yeah, you gonna bet it?
Nah, I've downloaded the betting app.
Undownloaded the betting app.
Yeah, but I think I might have to get it back for the UCL final. I might have to take it back for the UCL.
Crazy. But that'll do it. Slightly longer episode 103. Appreciate you guys for listening. I don't think we miss any housekeeping. But I think that'll do it.
Fan, Messi, game. I feel like there's a fourth thing.
Upcoming game.
Nah.
I wonder if Messi goes to the MLS All-Star. That'd be crazy.
It's against Arsenal. Bottlers.
Apparently Garber just gets to be like, I want a player to play in it, and now he's going to play in it. So.
Yeah, well, that happened when who was it?
Happens every year.
Last season.
Because all the Euro retirees always get in it
Who
somehow.
was it? I don't know. It happened maybe like Higuain or something.
So, 103, and catch you guys in 104.
Peace.
Peace.